Hello, welcome to another talk on money, business, and investing. My name is Jose. I'm the founder of the company and brain here at Master Investor. Ensure to subscribe and turn on the notifications so that you know when we go live or upload a valuable talk on money that can literally change one's finances forever. As long as we apply the information that we're learning, that's the only way we can turn somebody else's knowledge into our personal knowledge, right? It's by actually grabbing that information and taking massive action. So what I want to cover on this talk today is not only we're going to piggyback on what we've been talking about lately. So if you haven't watched the videos that we have posted on the channel in the past week, make sure you go back and see them, because we talk about great points and critical things that we need to look at when we build our business and when we are building wealth, true wealth, because wealth is measured in time, not necessarily just with money, okay? Because a lot of people have money, but they don't have control over their time because they lack excess of cash flow, which comes from having assets that are producing passive income and sometimes capital gains income. There are two types of income when it comes to investing. We have capital gains income and passive income. Rule number one in our community here at Master Investor is that we focus on building a passive income and multiplying money through sound investing. So what we have to focus is in acquiring financial education in regards to the 5 different asset classes that exist today. Those 5 asset classes we explain in detail inside of our digital courses. Make sure you click the link in the description somewhere around this video to access our digital courses from our website, which they all contain a digital book. You can also have the hard copy book if you go to Amazon, but when you get it from our website, you have additional assets that will come with each digital course and book. And as we move forward, we will be adding more assets into each digital course to emphasize more on the topic of that volume specifically. Assets like exclusive interviews with wealthy entrepreneurs and inside investors that are having success in the area in which we are speaking about in the volume. So it could be a celebrity, it could be a billionaire, it could be a new entrepreneur that is starting out and having success as a beginner. So that way we can relate, the people that are starting out can relate to that individual and can get inspired ultimately and avoid unnecessary mistakes along the way. Because if there's any shortcut in life, is learning from other people's mistakes and avoiding them. That will be the best option we have in regards to expediting our sales and results into our ideal scene. Okay, so we have to be solid with our mission, but we must be flexible along the way. So when we make $1 million, if that's our goal, right? If that's our end goal, to make $1 million in the next year, and I'm talking about through passive income, then we might start out doing it a certain way, but we might change along the way the activity because we found out that what we were doing wasn't going to take us towards our end goal, at least not as fast as we propose ourselves to do it. So we might have to change at any time. We have to be okay with being flexible. But how do we stand out among the world, among the rest, among the competition that we may have when we're building our businesses? How do we set ourselves apart from the rest? And the first thing I would like to say is that we must challenge our core values. We must take a look deep inside and tweak and update anything that needs to be unlearned with the new data so that we can operate with a wealthy context. When we talk about it starts with the mindset, when we build wealth, we are basically saying we need to unlearn the old and update ourselves with the new, learn the new rules of money. That's why we created the 10 new rules of money. How to build cash flow with the internet, turn passive income on, and we also have how to invest in crypto to build wealth. We're working on our 4th ebook. It should be released in the next month, and it's going to be called How to Raise Capital to Build Wealth, because the job number 1 of an entrepreneur, of a wealth entrepreneur, is to raise capital, to build a business that raises capital from the front end and from the back end. from the front end, meaning the end user, the customers, and also from the back end, because the legalities are in order of the business. We have a solid foundation. The structure is properly chosen so that we can minimize taxes, and therefore it's attractive to other investors, including the banks, right? The banks are in the business of lending money. So we need to become partners with the government and the banks so that we can minimize taxes legally all the way to zero, okay? So first we need to take a look at ourselves, challenge our core values. It starts with that, because a lot of times people are living with the core values that were given to them by previous generations, and those values do not work any longer, at least not for what we are attempting to do, which is creating freedom, total freedom, which comes from having assets. That's why wealth is measured with freedom. So how long can we go without working and not worrying about running out of money because we have excess of cash flow coming in from our investments? How long can we go? Is it 10 years, 100 years? Can we go our entire life without shrinking nor living below our means, always expanding and living above our means, because our businesses are growing, and our businesses and our assets are true investments that are solving problems in the world. A business is always solving a problem in the world. So when we understand our niche and what type of problem we want to solve, then we are going to be up to something then. But we need to take massive action. We need to figure it out. That's why we put together a total guide on how to get started with the first business that creates $1 million in positive cash flow. More. There's not a limit when it comes to how much money we can create. The return on investment is way higher when we take massive action ourselves instead of giving our money away to other people because the individual lacks financial education. A person that is does not have financial education, he or she cannot invest successfully themselves. They will have to give their money away, and if they invest themselves, they are gambling, and when they give their money away to somebody else, they're also gambling. And why is that? Because investing is about calculated risk, and it takes financial education. So the first thing we have to do as an inside investor is get educated financially. A lot of people spend the entire day working for somebody else's business, which there's nothing wrong with having a great job. If you're an employee, what we said earlier was that regardless of what we're doing today, we must turn everything into gold. Even if you don't like your job right now and you want to get out of it, in the meantime, while we're getting out of it, we must be grateful, and we must turn that into gold, whatever activity we do. Because when we start living an impression on other people that what they think of us is like, that was better than I thought, that conversation with that person was better than I thought, that's when we're going to start building true wealth, and we will be aligning ourselves with a network of people that will be supporting us because we're building rapport, we're giving value to them. There are 3 types of Uber drivers, just for the sake of an example and an analogy. But in reality, when we take a look at it, there are 3 types of Uber drivers or chauffeurs, such as the one that doesn't find our location, our exact location, and it doesn't matter what he or she does, cannot find our location. The other one, and today everybody should be able to find the location, right? Because we have technology and they got the app and the GPS and whatnot. And the other type is the one that finds the location. And the third type is the one that when we leave, we say that was better than I thought. It exceeds our expectations. So we want to be that third type. We want to always exceed everybody's expectations when we come in contact with. And when we're building our brands and our businesses, we also have to have that mindset and attitude within our organizations, okay? Because at the end of the day, people will remember the experience that they had with the business, and they will always come back to shop because of the experience that we have created in their minds. So let's become more memorable. That's how we set ourselves apart from the rest is by actively innovating and leaving a mark in our customers' minds that is a positive, emotional, and also beneficial to them. So we need to really get to our niche and our customers by studying them and understanding what they need and putting that message in front of them so easily with the product attached. And let's just start focusing on building and acquiring real assets that have products and services that we don't have to be attached to do the work, because we don't want to create any type of jobs for ourselves. We want to be the chairman of our businesses, and the chairman is the highest position. It's not the CEO, the highest position. The CEO is an employee of the business. Okay, so we are building true leaders, wealthy entrepreneurs, and inside investors here in our community at Master Investor. Our mission, we are more than an investment management company. Our mission is to elevate the financial well-being of humanity through high-quality financial education. Made simple, we look at opportunities to build passive income and true wealth. That's what we are set out to do because of the lack of financial education that exists in the world, and we are going to be delivering products and services to help people around the world build true wealth, which requires actively investing. That's why I said earlier, a passive investor lacks financial education. A passive investor that attempts to invest is a gambler because he or she lacks financial education. And when they give their money away to a company or a 401k vehicle, those are fake assets because they're not putting any money into the investor's pocket. And not until the investment or asset puts money into our pocket, we can call it an asset. If it's not putting money into our pocket today, then it's not an asset. Even though it might look like it's going up on value on paper, that is not true cash flow. We need to be able to touch that capital coming in. So focus on building passive income and having that excess of cash flow coming in. A true master investor receives passive income, and we thrive with that. So we set ourselves apart from the masses by being unique, innovating, challenging ourselves, being committed to self-development, being able to improve our vocabulary. We talked about that yesterday. We covered the importance of, having the right lingo when it comes to money. Just like any professional has their own lingo, we have to be able to speak the lingo of money. And the most important words in the business language are cash flow. And the second most important words are due diligence. Make sure we write that down, because we have to do due diligence when it comes to investing actively. One thing is that we have to be involved in raising the capital. We have to incorporate the company. We need to understand the boring stuff, the legalities, so that we can hire the right group of people, the right team, so that we can minimize taxes legally, because the laws and the tax code are a package of incentives for wealthy entrepreneurs and inside investors who understand how to use debt, because money is created with debt. That's what we want to use, as much debt as possible, because all debt is tax-free. So if money is created with debt due to the changes in the law, back in August 15, 1971, that's when President Nixon separated the gold standard from the US dollar. From that point forward, money became monopoly money, fiat money, fake money, and just an idea backed up by confidence, meaning that once we have something of confidence, we can raise capital. Once we have an idea and we can put that into a business plan, and that's why it's important to write our ideas down. When we wake up, write our thoughts down. We will be surprised how much leverage we will gain from that simple exercise. If we want to improve our lives, we must write more. And we have to write the ideal scene as if it already happened to us. So whatever we want to achieve, let's write it in our notes as an experience that had already happened, and we're being thankful for it, because that's how we create the perfect ideal scene with the picture that will create and will make the universe align ourselves with the opportunities, the right people, and all the resources that we must have in order to manifest and experience that ideal scene. But if we can think it, then we can be there physically, right? And so it's first right here in the mind. But what we mean, again, is changing the context. When it comes to money, there are two types of mindset: poor mindset and the wealthy mindset. Let's have the wealthy mindset, because if we don't have the right context, then regardless of the content which we will put into it, it doesn't do any good. Okay, so first let's focus on the core values. Let's challenge that, and let's stop being skeptical about things. If it sounds too good to be true, it might be good. Let's check it out. Let's examine. There's nothing that we lose from doing due diligence. Let's not just jump on conclusions without facts. We don't move like that. A master investor controls our emotions. We have control over our emotions, and we make sure that we do our due diligence before we even have a conclusion. It's not good to assume. If we have beginning to assume, it's better to ask and find out, because otherwise we're just creating stories that are not even true. We don't know until we ask. So we need to figure out what it is. If it sounds too good to be true, check it out. Don't be a cynic, okay? A lot of people miss opportunities in the world because they're too skeptical, and they're too honed down in their own ways, and they're unwilling to change. We have to be willing to change at all times. What we're learning today, next week we might need to learn the new ways, because what we learned today is already old next week. That's how fast we're moving. So be willing to be flexible, and that's how we're going to be able to stand among the masses, is by shifting and evolving as everything else is evolving, and shifting ourselves into becoming a better leader every single day. And we do that by doing self-development, also investing in our financial education, and of course, we need to be helping other people along the way. We're doing this, and whatever business we're involved, it has to solve a problem in the world. We're not doing it for us. If it's just for us, and it's just a hobby, it must be for other people. We need to solve other people's problems. So the question is, what type of problems do we want to solve? What are we passionate about? Let's figure out our passions and start working on creating or acquiring a product that will solve that problem. And we may innovate from other people's products. We may get inspired from our mentors and other people that we admire, and we will use less resources. We will bring down the price, create better quality, right? Many ways we can improve and take our competition, and we're gonna show you exactly how to strategize so that we are the best at whatever we do. Here at Master Investor, we are equipped with the right mentors, with the right group of people and team, so that we can train true leaders, wealthy entrepreneurs, and inside investors. It's all about knowing how to build our asset column. It's all about having the right team around us and figuring out what is our purpose in life. A lot of people are not living through purpose. They just living by default, and all they're doing is wasting their opportunity and their time, which is the most precious asset we all have. Again, if there's a person that loves their job, there's nothing wrong with having a job, as long as we are practicing investing actively, not giving your money away to somebody to do it for you, because you don't learn anything doing it that way. And that is a passive investor. You're a gambler. You're hoping that when you want to sell it in the future, that the stock will be up in the price, but you don't know that. There's no guarantee. So, and the person who is investing that, you don't even know them. And we have an inside joke that we talk about brokers, right? And we say, well, a lot of people have brokers and listen to their brokers, but they're named brokers because they're brokers, right? They're brokers than them. And we just need to always listen to the advisors, but always overlook over their shoulders. Like, make sure we look over their shoulders and figure out if what they're saying is true. And we need to do our due diligence so that we don't run into any issues, because an asset can turn into a liability very quickly. So we need to figure it out if it's a true asset that we're looking at, and we do that by reading the financial statements. That's why the foundation of true wealth is in the ability of reading financial statements. When you go into our digital course, How to Build Cash Flow with the Internet. Inside there, we'll find a financial statement that we will download into Excel so that we can know exactly where we are financially. We're going to update that every single day. We should be looking at it. And of course, every week as we increase our passive income and our assets and our expenses and liabilities and everything changes and our cash flow begins to change, we need to take a look at it every day and monitor it so that we can improve it constantly. Same thing with every business or investment. It has its own financial statement. And in that financial statement, it tells us how the business is doing in the past 10 years and the entire time that it had exist, right? So we need to study the financial statements of the business, whichever investment we want to do. So if we invest in stocks, we need to figure out which company we're going to be investing in. So we need to study their financial statements, right? And so we need to understand the 6 basic words inside the financial statements. And inside of our ebook, you'll learn what those 6 words are in detail, but I'm going to give them to you. And they are, we'll find income column, we'll find the expense column, assets column, liabilities column, and cash flow. Those are the 6 most important words that composes a financial statement. A lot of people, all they know is how to work hard for earned income, which is taxed at the highest bracket, and then they end up saving that money and putting it into fake assets like 401k, mutual funds, CDs, and any other investment vehicle that does not create any passive income today, also known as positive cash flow. Passive income is the same thing as positive cash flow. It doesn't create any positive cash flow nor any capital gains income right now. So if it's not paying us today, then it's not an asset. We cannot call it an asset. A lot of people are calling things that they have assets, and they're not really assets, they're liabilities. Now, there's nothing wrong with having liabilities as long as we have assets that will be paying for those liabilities expenses. That's how we obtain everything for free at the end. We build an asset that will pay for whatever we want to have in our lives. And that way, we're not paying it with our money. The business or investment which we acquire is paying for that. And we're using that to maintain that liability in our lives. So the holy grail is to focus on building those assets, and we call those freedom units, right? Because they literally gives us more freedom. They fuel cash flow into our pocket, giving us the opportunity to create more and manifest more because we have excess of cash flow. So the 3 E's of a master investor: number 1, financial education; number 2, financial experience; number 3, excess of cash flow. We're going to learn about the cash flow circle inside of our ebook, How to Build Cash Flow with the Internet. And the cash flow circle explains the 4 players that exist in the game of money, and we all form part of the game of money. So some people are playing 2 players at the same time, but we can see by studying the players which players are the ones that create and control wealth and have total freedom. And the 4 players in the cash flow circle, on the left side we'll find the employee and the self-employed. On the right side, we find the business owner and inside investor. On the right side is where wealth is created. On the left side is where active or ordinary, or also known as earned income, is created. If the individual doesn't show up, then he or she doesn't make money. Money stops coming in. On the right side, the business owner, we control systems. We have a system of systems doing the selling and telling for us, solving a problem in the world. We don't have to be present to make the money because we have a true business, which is composed of a system of systems, and is making us positive cash flow. That is a true asset. That's what we want to focus on now. That cash flow needs to be reinvested into either the business to take it to a whole different level, but ideally we want to invest part of that cash flow, those profits, into a different asset class. That's how we protect ourselves from down economies and inflation, is by diversifying among the 5 different asset classes that exist. We talked about them earlier, right? Business is number 1, real estate, crypto, paper assets, and commodities. Those are the 5 asset classes that exist, and we need financial education. But we need to invest in all of them in order to protect ourselves from down economies, okay? So don't just diversify in one asset class. As we getting wealthier in one asset class, we need to move that cash flow into a different asset, okay? By the way, that's the only way an asset or money maintain its value, is literally by moving it from asset to another asset, a true asset, a cash flowing asset specifically. So we want to train ourselves that when we get a profit, we treat that surplus as an expense, specifically a good expense, because we have designated that surplus to be invested into a new project or investment to create passive income. And sometimes, depending on the asset class and the asset, will create capital gains income. But rule number 1, remember, write it down, is that we work to build passive income and multiply money through sound investing, okay? So learning the types of players that exist in the game of money is critical, because that way we know where we want to be playing the game of money if you want to switch from the left side to the right side. Maybe you want to do both, and you can. That's why I said earlier, if you love your job, learn how to invest, but first invest in your financial education. So if we want to invest in real estate, we need to get a course in real estate, and then we start investing in real estate, right? A course from a real mentor. There are a lot of fake mentors in the world. We need to focus on getting the right mentors, because we have to be listening to the right data. Time is the most precious asset, and because we live in the information age, right? 1989, that's when we entered the information age, from the industrial age. And I like to call it the entrepreneur age. Why? Because we need to bring out our entrepreneur spirit, okay? And everyone has an entrepreneur spirit. We all created with ideas, visions, and talents that we can monetize, and we can solve problems in the world. So we need to learn how to do it, because we weren't taught how to build a business and how to create wealth, because the school systems were not created. At least 1902, 1903 explains why the school systems, or the school system, right, from the time we go to kindergarten to the time we graduate, doesn't create wealthy entrepreneurs and inside investors. The reasons why, because John D. Rockefeller took over the school board back in 1902 or 1903 and basically instilled a mission saying that they wanted 2 types of people to come out of the school system. Number 1, soldiers that will defend the corporations of the wealthy, which are the governments. Those are the corporations of the government, right? And then soldiers to, employees to work for the corporations of the wealthy. And then the soldiers to fight and defend the corporations of the government. So, and that's why in the United States, when we are in high school, we get introduced to something that's called ROTC. It's basically already introducing the individual to the army and so forth. So it's an option class that people have, but it's basically brainwashing the individual to, show them the benefits of joining the army and why not, so that they can go ahead and join, because that is the mission of the school system, is to create 2 types of people: employees and soldiers. Employees that work for the corporations of the wealthy. So when people graduate from school, they look for jobs so that they can work the corporate ladder and they can maybe become a CEO one day. However, whatever you do, make sure you turn it into gold, because when we live that attitude among everybody that we connect with, we're going to become true leaders. People will always remember us, okay? When we create our businesses, we're always also going to do that. We're going to make sure we leave a mark on people's minds forever and create an experience. People are paying for the experience today more than the product itself. And we need to create a true brand by instilling intrinsic value in the brand, which means that we are protecting the products with legalities, meaning that we have a patent if it has to, or it needs a patent. We have our logo registered and trademark, right? And so we protect what we do unique to the world. What we serve to the customer, we're protecting that so no one else can come and take it along the way. And that's how we turn a company into a brand. Otherwise, if you don't do that, then it stays as a commodity and it can be replaced by somebody else very quickly. And then the second thing we need to do in order to turn it into a true brand is to have business integrity, meaning that the business needs to be making a profit. It's created and it's built to create a profit because it has the 8 integrities that we find inside the cash flow triangle, which we also explain in our ebook, How to Build Cash Flow with the Internet. The 8 integrities are mission, team leadership, cash flow, communications, systems, legal, and product. Majority of people, they have great ideas for products, but they forget the other integrities, and therefore the business fails. When we look at any other business that is successful, we will be able to tell how these 8 integrities are placed easily in that business. We can see it on that business. Great businesses like Nike, Adidas, Apple, Prada, MASTERINVESTOR, Louis Vuitton, Amazon, FedEx, right? Philips, great companies out there, Mercedes-Benz, BMW. These are brands. These are true brands. They're not just companies. Okay, so remember, we're in the business of creating and acquiring assets that produce passive income and capital gains income. And it starts with changing our context about money. We need to adopt the context of the wealthy, which requires financial education. So it starts in the mind, but that means that we need to unlearn what we have been taught and learn the new data that works in today's economy. And today, money is created with debt because of the changes in the law. Back in 1971, like I explained, President Nixon separated the gold standard from the US dollar. And so that was the best experiment. And the reason why we did that is because we are a country that imports more than exports. And because we do that, if the gold is attached to the dollar, then we're giving all our gold to our enemies, basically, if we're importing everything or majority of the things from China. So we had to cut that. We didn't want to give our gold to our enemies. And therefore, it created also an opportunity for everyone literally to become ultra wealthy fast, using the new technology that we have and the ability to have access information from anywhere around the world, meaning that we can sell at the same time around the world like never before. Everybody has access to online, to the information. That's what's called the information age, but not all information is great. So we need to be very selective, and we need to do also due diligence and seek out the information that we truly are looking for to create the results that we want. So it's not the one that has the master's degree nowadays. It's the one that actually is doing the real thing in real life, right? And so it's not the one that went to school 20 years and has zero experience. It's about the one that have the experience in the real world. And companies are looking for people that have experience, not really the one that have the degree. Okay, so it starts with really working on our core values and becoming creative. Again, because a lot of people are already creative, but they just let their creativity die down because they've been taught to follow certain patterns, and they should live this way, and they should go to school, get a good paying job, and then invest in fake assets, 401k, and then retire when they're 65 and maybe travel. That's not the life that we're creating here in our community. Our lifestyle is the one that is total freedom, get wealthy fast, legally, and maintain that wealth growing so that we can enjoy life right now, okay? Time is the most precious asset we all have, and we need to make sure we invest in that in the right events with the right people, okay? So who are our mentors? And I would like to invite you to get inside of our inner circle, because I would like to introduce you to mentors that literally have changed millions of people's lives, and also let me be a mentor of you to help you understand the basics of business and invest in so that we can create passive income and true wealth. Thank you for having me, bringing you the good and bad news of money. And how do we set ourselves apart is by being unique, by challenging our core values, by shifting our context with the wealthy context, and letting go of all habits regarding money and taking massive action. And the 3 E's of a master investor: financial education, financial experience, and excess of cash flow. Stay extraordinary and wealthy. Bye for now. And even when people are not watching, even when you don't think it's working out, that's when it's working. Make sure you get into a habit of having a plan every day so that we don't procrastinate and we can take care of every single detail about our business to create total freedom. Anyway, I'll see you on the next talk. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop your comments below. Like and share this valuable video, because that's when we turn something into a treasure, when we have something of value and we actually share with other people. All right. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you inside of our inner circle. Thank you for your time.